the hell?
Na 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 na.
Oh,
I was listening to it earlier. You know, at the beginning when he's like, "It's P," he's like, "This ain't P," and he's like, "Man, it's P," and he's like, "Man, say and he's like, he's like, "You ain't no motherfucking P."
You definitely caught my attention. I look like, is she okay? Woo, Black Addict.
Yeah.
You know what song been stuck in my head this week?
Mm-hmm.
Black, 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 black on black, black on black on black.
Black.
It's been stuck in my head.
Black on black.
Black at it again for another not so private conversation. You know what? We started doing this, like, we just easily transitioned into the whole intro, how we intro these conversations. And I realized that I didn't really break down the premise of these conversations. And we're like 23, 24 episodes in.
Okay.
How you let me do that?
We just talking about.
You know why? Because it's an easy conversation and we just be being ourselves, I guess. But this is our weekly podcast series. Really just a bunch of conversations between me and my long distance bestie. But for those who are new to the podcast, we usually have these conversations on Martini Monday, but today is Teeny Tuesday.
Teeny Tuesday.
Any excuse to drink a dirty martini, our favorite drinks. And so Martini Mondays and Teeny Tuesdays are for conversations with your girlfriends. So you hear this on a Monday or a Tuesday. I mean, we record this on a Monday or a Tuesday, but you hear this on a Thursday.
I was wondering what the heck you were talking about. I'm like, what do you mean? We haven't introed in so long.
We don't do it.
It's not a thing. It's just not a thing.
We just be up in the conversation. We don't do it.
I mean, people said it's just like a conversation. So I was like, shoot, I guess we don't need an intro. We all rolling in, all us and the LDBs. We just roll right into it. Let's talk about it. Go.
We occasionally have, and we haven't had any people on three-way in a long time, but we occasionally have like male representation. But usually it's just the ladies. And I brought this up because I took notice that when we first started, we had about 80% of women tuning in. 80% of our demographic was women tuning in. Mm-hmm. Now, guess what the demographics are?
I hope they tune in because they want to learn something.
Yeah, so the women are still tuning in, but the male,
that's what I'm talking about,
LDBs. So now we go from 80% of women. Now 55% are women and 41% are men, are the guys. The fellas are learning something. Right. I'm just surprised that the numbers are evening out the way that they are. 41% of our LDBs are guys. I think that's really cool.
Hey. How y'all doing? Welcome.
Basically, I think this is really cool. So, if you heard last week's conversation, then you heard us discuss seasonal depression. And we talked about the signs and what you could do to help make it through this time of year. And then we also asked you guys what you're going to try to do this year if you notice that you're feeling a little more down than usual. Mm-hmm. And I got some good feedback. Mm-hmm. So one of our LDBs said, instead of waking up a whole hour early to start your day, remember how I said I went to just wake up at like 4:00 in the morning and try to work out? So this LDB said, try to only wake up about 20 minutes earlier and then do a small light workout or ease your way into your morning routine and then gradually increase what time you wake up in increments until you get where you want to be. Right. So that you're not completely shocking your body.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? That makes sense.
That's a good idea. I never thought about that.
Yeah. And so basically, if you do want to try to start your day a little earlier, keep that in mind. And then my therapist also did confirm the whole light box thing. Light boxes are an effective form of treatment for releasing those hormones that you need to elevate your mood. And
Mhm.
she said that there were plenty on Amazon to buy. So we got some pretty good feedback this year.
Hmm. If you got like validation from your therapist, then hey, that means we doing
Mhm,
something right.
mhm.
Giving people the correct information.
Right. I was like,
Did
I
y'all
don't
hear
know about
that?
mercy.
Therapist approved.
Yeah. My therapist was like, yeah, light boxes are one of the go-tos. And I was like, okay, good.
I didn't know they sold them on Amazon though. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Right. I didn't know they sold them on Amazon either. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go check them out. Or again, like I said, if the weather permits, get outside, get in the sun.
Right.
That definitely works. Because
Mhm.
it's worked for me. So I'm working, like I said, I'm working my plan, getting outside, working out, taking supplements, doing the things that I need to do. And I've been feeling pretty good overall.
I've been, let's see, I went to. I guess it's not really. I'm not going anywhere because everything's pretty much Zoom or whatever
Mm-hmm.
now. But
Mm-hmm.
I had a therapist session. It was pretty good. I did work out. I went play sand volleyball yesterday, and my neck,
Nice.
I can barely turn it left. I don't know what is going on.
Ooh.
I don't know what happened yesterday. I just know that I dove a couple of times and maybe I shouldn't have.
Were you having high school volleyball team flashbacks?
I think I was. I think like my body just went back in time.
Ooh.
Went through a time
You
machine
still
and
had the muscle memory, right? But
exactly.
your
It
body,
was
your 30-something-year-old body can't do the same thing that your
it was like,
teenage
girl, you
body could
don't do
do.
this every day. You used to do this stuff every day. This is the first time you played volleyball in years.
Wow. But sand volleyball, right? That's what you said? That sounds pretty fun.
It is fun. It's just like it's way harder because it's like it's harder to move around. You have
Mm.
to
Mhm.
really like find your footing. It was a lot of
Right.
slipping and falling, and but I had a really good time, like a really good time. And it wasn't serious, so that helped. And I didn't play a match. I just
Mhm.
kind of rallied with somebody, and then like we did like a 2-on-2. So that was fun. But they had
Hmm.
people like really playing out there. They was sweating. I was like, oh.
So my brother says anytime you look up the word athlete in the dictionary, you'll see a picture and a description of Jeanne. That's a little known fact about Jeanne. What's funny is I played every sport except for volleyball. I could never get into volleyball. And that's the sport that you're like, volleyball and softball, you're just like an
Yeah.
all-star at.
I mean, it's the only two that I did. I actually don't think I became good at volleyball until after I quit. And then,
What? I didn't
yeah.
know you quit.
Yeah, I quit my senior year.
Why did I not know this?
Yeah. And like my senior
What?
year was literally when I got like good. I should have stayed. Like when I look back, it's like, girl, like when you got to your senior year, you were doing really good. Like you were doing the work and doing the practice. And
Right.
then softball I just was good at. I don't know. I just was good at
The
it.
natural athlete jumped out.
I know you not talking, but I think that was all our friend group. Like we
Mhm.
all were involved in sports. So,
That's what
you know,
happens when you like were groomed to play sports from like 5 years old.
yeah, because you go play basketball and it's like, okay, okay, Mia. All right,
I know
crisscross
more.
applesauce and fade away. Are those words, those basketball terms?
I mean, they
Crisscross
sound right to
applesauce.
me. I have never heard of crisscross applesauce in
That's the right
basketball.
thing. That's your signature move, the crisscross
Look,
applesauce.
I wish I still had all those moves. I tried to like go and play, and my body just be like, girl, what are you
We're
doing?
gonna get
You're
back to
doing
it.
too
We're gonna
much.
start running drills. Let's start running drills. We're gonna start conditioning.
You see my face, don't you? I wish I still had my 17, 18-year-old body.
Right.
I wish.
Good times.
But I, you know, like we keep trying to say, body positivity, body normalcy. I like where I'm at. I'm good. It's all good. So this week, I want to kind of deviate from the last few weeks. We've been talking about some heavy stuff. Did you realize that?
Yes.
We've been talking about some heavy stuff.
Please,
We
Lord
talked
Jesus.
about voting. We talked about seasonal depression. We talked about just, you know, like body issues, body image issues. What else did we talk about?
We talked about the hurricane.
Oh my goodness. We talked
in
about
one
stress.
episode, stress. 2020. It was like a lot.
We talked about how 2020 is playing us all. We talked about Breonna Taylor.
And still.
Oh man. So I don't know like if this is gonna be any better. It is meant, I am like trying to kind of like make it, I don't know, humorous maybe. But
are you now?
It might not be. I don't
You're
know.
a fan of dark humor, so
I mean, I
still
am.
on the fence.
I have a very crude sense of humor. I don't know where I get that from, but I don't know. But I enjoy really honest experiences that you can look back on and laugh at, but still kind of be like, yeah, that happens. Like I like that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
we're gonna do a little story time. And you know, as best friends, we tell each other everything, basically. Most of the time.
Yeah, unless we forget. Sometimes it just like slip our minds.
Yeah. But I feel like maybe we have some stories that we have not shared with each other. And it just so happens to, you know, be that we have this podcast that we can share and have these conversations where we can share these experiences and like catch real-time reactions. So we're gonna do a little story time. So LDBs, gather around. We have stories.
Gather around the campfire, girls and guys.
So do you want to go first or should I go first?
You go. I have to pray on mine.
So
yeah.
I have two, but I'm only gonna tell one for the sake of time because I don't want to keep you on too long because I have to.
We'll see. Go.
I have things to do. So back in 2017, I think I was headed downtown to hang out with some friends or whatever.
Oh my God.
What?
Nothing. Just keep going.
Well, you know what I'm about to tell you?
I don't know, but if it is, this shit always shocks me. So, you know, we've only talked about it once and it's been so long. So I'm like,
okay, we never talked about it until like right after it happened. We haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
So we were just getting into the downtown area. And so we're in the car and I am mid conversation and I look over and I see a woman laying face down on the sidewalk. And I did a double take. And so I'm just, you know, yapping away. And I go, what the hell? Did you see that? And so my boyfriend said, no. I was like, hold on, make this block real quick. I promise you, I promise you, I just saw a woman laying face down on the sidewalk. Make the block. So he made the block, and then we both saw her. She was face down on the pavement on the sidewalk. And so I was shook.
Wild.
Wild. Stop the car. We pulled over. This is a one-way street. We pulled over and stopped like mid-traffic. And
okay, pause, because you know it's been a while since I've heard this, and this is the one I thought it was. So I was like, and I think I remember like asking some questions at the time, but I can't even remember like the answers to it. I just kind of remember the gist of the story. So I have questions. One, were there any other people around?
So I'm gonna get to it.
Okay,
It's all a
okay.
part of the story.
Okay.
So my first thought was, oh my gosh, this woman is dead on the sidewalk. And so my boyfriend was like, we need to call 911. I was already jumping out of the car going towards this person. And I don't know what possessed me to do that. So
Psycho.
at the same time, though, another car with two guys pulled up and they were like, whoa, she all right? And I was like, I don't know. And Aaron was like, we don't know. We don't know. So they were like, bro, she looked dead as hell. She looked like dead.
Oh my God. Oh my
Like,
God.
so we're walking towards her and I'm looking at them like, really? Are y'all just going to stand there? Or are y'all going to like try to help? And so they weren't really trying to help. So we were trying to call out.
Wait, were they black?
They were not. One guy was kind of black. One guy was Hispanic or
Kind of
Latino.
black. And then was the woman person of color?
White.
I know it's bad, but I can kind of understand it. It's kind of
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I can potentially put myself in danger trying to help this white woman.
And
We've
it
seen
was
it
it
happen.
wasn't crossing my mind at the time. So
Right.
I was like, so y'all gonna try to help or y'all just gonna stand there? And they weren't really trying to help. So we were trying to call out to her before we
Not
really
I.
walked up on her and approached like before we approached her. And so I
Mhm.
happened to notice that she was drinking, she had cigarettes, so she was smoking, and she had her keys just out in the open on the grass. Again, she is face down on the sidewalk, not moving, not responsive or nothing. So I just happened to put these things together. I see liquor, I see cigarettes, and I see her keys. And so I assumed she lived pretty close. She was laying in front of what I thought was like a duplex. It looked like apartments or something. So me being me, I wasn't trying to use my hands to touch her. I used my foot and just kind of was like, tried to move her leg a little bit. But she started coming to a little bit. And so
I'm sorry. I just had a visual of you just poking this lady with your foot, like
I was just like, I don't know what to do, but
like
at the
they
same
didn't
time,
have a
I'm gonna do
stick around.
something.
They didn't have a stick
Right.
around.
If they did, you know I was gonna use the stick instead. But she starts coming to a little bit and we start trying to talk to her. So she starts kind of rustling around. She was like, huh? Oh,
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just very strange. And so I asked her, like, hey, where do you live? Can we help you? I was already gonna help her. And so I was like, do you remember anything? Do you know where you are? Whatever was coming to mind, I was trying to just like pop out questions to see if she
Mhm.
would answer. So I pour out the alcohol like that was supposed to do something. I got her keys and I told her, okay, we're going to try to sit you up because somewhere, I don't know if it was Grey's Anatomy or just like watching different TV shows or hearing different things they say, talk the person through it as you're doing it. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's real or if I'm making that up, but I did it anyway.
Oh, okay. That about
Okay.
I haven't heard that about drunk people, but
I don't know. Just,
okay.
being in the medical field at one point, I was
Right.
like, you kind of talk them through so you don't alarm them. And I was like, she probably don't want me touching her. I don't want to touch her. So
She, she didn't
I
know.
was
She was
like,
fucked up.
all right, so let's try to sit her up. The guys who were in the middle of the street who had stopped right behind us, they had drove off. Like they really weren't trying to help. Like it was none of their business.
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah, we're gonna try to sit you up. I was thinking she was going to puke at some point. And so I was like, you just make sure you dodge the throw up. And so I also was checking for bruises, cuts, or scrapes. I was checking her head
Mhm.
because she was face down. And
Right.
so I'm thinking
Right.
the worst. Like she fell the way Rosario Dawson fell in 7 Pounds when she banged her head. That was playing through my mind. And I was just like, "Ooh, what if she has brain trauma? What if she has like a
Mhm.
TBI?" And so she seemed okay physically, other than being drunk and being out of it. So she started mumbling, saying that she was okay. And this whole time, I'm just like, ma'am, you are not okay. You are not okay, but go off, sis. And so I asked her, where does she live? And she pointed to the duplex. So we found her keys and we matched her key to the apartment number and we tried to stand her up. And she was blitzed. Have you ever tried to hold up a person with
Mhm.
their dead weight?
Yes.
Bruh. So getting her sloppy ass up the stairs was a task. It was so hard. And so Aaron really tried his best. And so I run ahead and I try to open up the apartment door,
Mhm.
and we got her inside and we put her on the couch. And can you believe that as sloppy as she was trying to kick us out of her little funky ass apartment while we were trying to help her.
What'd she say?
She was like, okay, I got it. Thank you. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Like, you don't got it. Like, you're
Good
not
girl. No,
good.
you don't.
You're not good. We're trying to help you, man. We don't want nothing from you. We're not finna hurt you, harm you, nothing. We
Mhm.
just literally saw you laying face down in
Mhm.
broad daylight. We're trying to help you. And so she was like, thank you so much, you guys. And we couldn't hear. She was just like completely incoherent. And we were barely in the door. We tried to sit down, her keys and her cup, and I don't know what happened. I probably tossed the cigarette somewhere. I don't know. So we tried to sit her down as well on the couch. And while I'm putting down her other stuff, this girl fell off the couch. I mean, boom. She hit the floor and tried to pop back up like that's so Raven talking about. No, guys. Okay.
I'm
Okay, you guys. I'm
okay.
fine. I'm fine. And me and Aaron looking at each other like, this bitch is crazy. We gotta get out of here. So, like, we were just being nice. Maybe we were being too nice. That's what I was
Yeah.
like. We were being too nice. Asking if she was
Yeah.
good. Did she need anything? Could we get her anything? We were being too nice. And so she did, of course, that nasty drunk white girl laugh. And she closed the door on us. We were like, girl. So we stood at the door for a few more seconds to see if we could hear anything. And then we walked down the stairs. We got in the car, proceeded to go to our destination, and we had the wildest looks on our faces. And the first thing I thought was, first of all, what the? And the second thing was, nobody is going to believe what just happened to me. So when I'm in like, and I'm not even put in like crazy situations a lot, but when I'm in situations, I've learned to ask myself, what was the take home message from this situation? What was the take home message? What did you learn? And I was like, it's what we always say, stay ready. So you ain't got to get
Yeah.
ready. I don't know what possessed me to run towards this random drunk stranger, but I
Mhm.
did. And so I was like, maybe that was just the years that I spent working in the hospital. You run towards the emergency. And I was like, well, I did know, the basics in CPR, and I know how to stabilize a person. If I
Mhm.
see someone in trouble, I don't run away. I run too, which is this just weird automatic response. So I think my take home message was now be able to discern when you should act and when you shouldn't act.
Right.
So I want to believe that I helped her, that we helped her. But then again, I don't know. I'm like, this was just one instance. What if this is like a pattern for her? What if she does this all the
Right.
time? And I was just
Right.
thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And I was like, you did what you were supposed to do in that moment. Let it go. That ain't none of your business.
This this story is just as wild the second time as it was the first. Like,
I
oh my
just,
God.
I
I
like, what
remember when
did
I
you?
told Jordan, I was like, bruh. Because one of the things we always say is like, you'll never believe what happened. Or when we
Mm-hmm.
used to say all the time, like, a camera should really follow us around because the wildest should be happening to us.
Right.
And it's and then the wild stuff does happen, it's still like, bruh, this is just crazy. And that story is just it's
I
still
just I
great.
couldn't I just couldn't. I was like, nobody is gonna believe
I'm
me.
like, this girl woke up and was like, how the hell I got back in my apartment?
I was like, we really must have just been at the right place at the right time, because this is never. Do you know? I don't know if people know that feeling that you feel when you see a body.
Right.
Think that they are like you think that they are dead.
Right.
That's a feeling that I never felt before until that day. And I
Mm.
just, all these thoughts just go through your head like, what the fuck are you gonna do?
Right.
They're dead. And so immediately I was like, call 911. This might really be a situation. I don't know what possessed me to do any of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I did, but I did them. And I was just like, you do have the potential to help somebody. So do whatever you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even think of all of the dangers that could have been associated with that situation. But it was just like, boom, go do it. And now I'm just like, she was crazy. You were crazy.
Man,
I don't know.
I'd be like, man, I wonder if she was out somewhere. Okay, when y'all got upstairs with her, was her door locked or was it unlocked?
It was locked.
So I
Like
wonder if
her
she like
door was
was
locked.
leaving, like she was on her way back home and was like that messed up driving and passed out just trying to get into
I
her
don't know.
apartment.
I didn't see any car there. So on that street, you could park on the street. I didn't really try to match like her car key. We were just looking for like her house key. So I don't know if any of those were her cars, but she wasn't dressed. So it's my assumption she wasn't dressed like she was going out. She
Mm-hmm.
looked like a girl who had been home drinking on like a Saturday afternoon,
Right.
having a
Watching
smoke,
Sex in the City.
doing her little thing, and she went outside for a smoke break because you probably can't smoke in your apartment. And so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is me putting pieces together. And so I was like looking at all of the little bits that she had around her, and I was like, so she has to live close. She has to be like, this has to be where she lives because she's dressed like in her pajamas almost.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't look like she's, even though we're close to downtown, she doesn't look like she's going out, trying to be out and about. And I was just like, maybe she was also on drugs. Maybe she had taken some pills. Maybe she mixed the pills with
Yeah,
the
you never
alcohol.
know.
I don't know. But I was
Right.
like, I don't know. I'm gonna try to help. I hope whatever I do is helpful. I don't know what happened to her after. Never laid eyes on her again. Couldn't even tell you what she really looked like, except she was a white girl.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I'm shook. And we were shook for the rest of the day. We still talk about that story like, I cannot believe that happened. I thought she was dead. So that is just what's one of the
I cannot
wildest things.
top that. I cannot top. When I like the one of the wildest things that happened to me, um, involves a drunk lady who I also did not know.
Mhm.
But another wild thing, and I'm gonna tell this one real quick because it's very short.
Okay.
Was okay. Is just weird, strange, and random AF, which is
Mm.
how things usually happen
It's
to
how
me.
things happen, right? Because what happened to me was so random.
Right.
Okay,
So
I'm ready.
I woke up this morning. They was doing inventory at my job. I was still living in Lake Charles at the moment. So I had to be to work at like 5 a.m. this day. So I get up and I go start my truck because it's kind of cold outside. And I hear meowing around my truck. And I'm like, what the like, okay, but at the time I was staying with my parents and they still had they have these big tall pine trees in their front yard that centers like the house. So I'm like, oh, okay, it must be in the pine tree, whatever. But it sounds like it's like in my truck. So I'm like walking around the truck and getting in and I'm getting out and I'm like, what hell is it coming from? But I don't see anything. Like I even like raise the hood up and I look and I
Mm.
don't see anything. So I'm like, okay. So I let my truck like warm up 15 minutes, whatever. I get on the road, head to work. Head to work, pull up at work, put my truck in park, get out. As I'm walking into the building, I hear the meowing. I'm like, what the hell?
What?
Right. I'm like, what in the hell? Like, cause I'm in a parking lot, so there's no trees around me, no cats. It's early in the morning. It's like, where is this coming from? Like, it has to be in my truck. I was like, oh my God, it's in my truck, like underneath my hood somewhere.
Oh, okay. I was going to say in your truck, but
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, it has to be under my hood because it's not like in my truck, but
what?
like some trucks, especially older models, you can like there's access inside the truck from inside the hood. Like small things can go through the hood and then end up in your front passenger seat. So
Wow. Okay.
especially if they take like the little compartment where all the wires are on the passenger side off. And so that's what we did. And so I heard it even louder. So I went get like some guys that I knew, and I was just like, bro, like y'all have to come see because I swear there's a cat under my hood. And it was like, what? I was like, I'm telling you, I drove all the way to work with a cat under my hood. They was like, okay. So they came. Sure enough, they was like, bro, there's a cat under your hood.
But they couldn't find it at
They
all?
still couldn't find it. So they went and get like gloves and a flashlight, like all kind of shit. And then they like shined the light. Somebody like shined it over, and then somebody went under and they found it. It was wedged like in my truck. Apparently, like the mama had like wedged the cat under the hood to protect it somehow. Yeah, that's like the only way they can think of is because one of them like was a cat person that it got there because it couldn't have got on its own. It was a kitten. It was
Oh,
literally
okay. So that's what I was going to ask. Was it like a little baby?
yeah, it was a kitten. And so because I drove to work, battery acid ended up getting in his eyes. Yeah,
Oh no. And I
yeah.
don't
So
even like cats, but
right.
dang.
Right, but one of my coworkers, he was like, he wanted it. So like he left that day, took it
Aw.
like they like took it inside the building, cleaned him up. That day he took him to the vet. They treated him, he was okay.
Mm.
And like the last time I asked, he still had him.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow. How does a cat
Crazy.
recover from getting battery acid in their eyes
I
though?
don't know. Apparently it was just in one eye.
Oh, okay.
And when they had took him in the building, they had like rent the face off. So that
Okay.
I don't know if that helped anyway, but
That's crazy.
he was fine. I know they said that his vision wasn't like 100%, but it wasn't like horrible either. So
See,
but
I'm
yeah,
not a pet person, but something like that would have had me like
it was
tripping.
wild.
I know I hear a cat.
I was like, what?
Y'all don't hear that cat?
Oh, exactly. That's how I was. I was like, bro, I know I'm not the only one who hear a cat
Oh
in
man,
this
that's
big ass
crazy.
parking lot where there's no grass and no trees.
Right? That is wild.
Yeah. So that's
What?
like, that's when I think about this story, I'm still like, whoa. There's a lot of stories that I think about that I'm like, whoa, you
See?
know?
That's what story time is for.
Right.
And
So,
that was
but
so according to you, that was just the warm up. I'm still like, you had a cat underneath like the hood of your how did this cat not die from how
I
hot it
don't,
is under
not just
there?
how hot, but you know how trucks, they, every
Right.
bump you hit,
Right.
you know, you feel it. So I'm like, how did this cat not fall onto
Mhm.
the road while I was driving?
Ooh.
That's what I was thinking of because the only way she could have put it under my hood is by going underneath the truck. She couldn't, it's not like the hood was popped and she put it like, you know, there and then
As
the hood.
like a mother cat, I'm doing this to protect my baby, but you put it
Mm.
in a vehicle
They
underneath.
don't, you know, they just probably, she was probably just searching for like a warm spot because it was
Oh,
like
what
I
time
told
of
you, it
year
was
was it?
cold.
It was
It was,
cold. Okay.
yeah, it was
That makes
cold. So
sense.
probably was just like looking for a warm place
Ooh,
to put
Lord.
him. Yeah. And then I felt bad because I was like, man, this cat probably came back for a baby and it was gone.
Oh,
But
man,
it
that's
got a good
crazy.
home. I ain't see a
Yeah.
cat roaming around, so
But that just means the mama cat and the baby cat are separated.
I don't like think about that.
I don't even like cats. Like I have a true disdain for cats, but that's actually kind of
Yeah.
sad. But at the same time, it is good that the cat was rescued thanks to your keen sense of sound.
Is
Thanks
that
to
a
your
cat?
I know I hear a cat.
I know I hear a cat. Okay, now the other story.
Oh Lord.
So I was going to talk about like something that happened at work with this drunk lady. This one's random too, and like what happens like afterwards is random as well. But we already had like one drunk story. So like as I was telling the cat when I remembered another one, it happened at work too. And I was like 18,
Okay.
19. I was working customer service at Albertsons, and I was like probably building end caps or something like that. And I'm walking past the registers and I look at this man. This man just happens to be Tony Mancuso's dad. You
Oh, the
remember the old
sheriff?
sheriff?
The
Mm-hmm.
sheriff in Lake Charles's
In Lake
dad?
Charles. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And I go behind the customer service booth like to help with something. And I'm just like, something was just off, right? And I see this man like, bruh, I ain't never witnessed no shit like this before in my life. You laughing, but you about to be like, bruh, grab his chest. Yes. Yeah. And
Wait, I have like 6 things running through my mind right now. Okay, proceed.
mm, the person he was with, I can't remember if it was his wife or like his daughter or somebody, it was a woman. Like he starts falling and she catches him. Like by this time I had like walked around and I'm like standing there because I was still looking at him and I'm just standing there and he's like holding his chest and the next thing you know they're on the ground together and people just running around and I'm telling you I was just stuck. I was stuck. I was like, because it's like I didn't realize what's going on. And then when it finally snapped, and I promise you, it could not have been that long, but the amount of time that it felt like in the moment had went by, it just felt like I stood there for so long. But it
Wow.
really was just like seconds. And then like I finally like run back behind customer service. I call 911 and this lady who worked at Miss Jeanette ran towards him and started giving him CPR. Girl, he had a heart attack in the store.
That's what I was thinking. He had a heart
He
attack,
had
he
a
was
heart
having a
attack.
seizure, he was having a stroke. Oh my
It was a
God.
heart attack because I remember
So
like when he
did time stop and like everything was moving in slow
telling
motion?
you, it was like it was like everybody was moving around me and I was just standing. I was just like, stop. It's like for me, time would stop, but for everybody else, it was moving. And I was just like
You were like
stuck.
frozen in the moment. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. You were like in shock. That's like shell shock.
yeah. It's like I was like,
Mm.
what the hell is going on? You know? And then like finally, and I'm telling you, it had to be seconds because like when I saw Miss Jeanette get to him is when I snapped and ran because she was the customer service person. So I was
Mhm.
like, if she's over there, no one's calling 911. So I
Mm.
ran back to call 911 while she was giving him CPR.
Smart. That's
It,
smart.
it was just
Wow. And
crazy.
that's a woman doing chest compressions on like a grown man.
But if you've ever seen Tony Mancuso's dad, especially around that time, he's real small.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I was wondering because sometimes it can be difficult to do chest
Right.
compressions no matter what size you are. But that's crazy. I probably
Crazy.
would have just been like frozen, in shock,
Man.
just like you.
I was like actually surprised, like later when I thought about it, I was like, bruh, you made it to the phone and you called 911.
Hey,
Like
you made the
I was
life-saving call. You
I
did
was like, man, I thought I was gonna be standing there forever. I was
I'm
so
trying to move, but my legs won't move.
right. Because it's like your mind is telling you this is an emergency. You need to
Activate, go. Mhm,
go get into action and do
mhm,
something.
mhm.
But if you've never been in a situation, you just kind of like, ah! And that's how it was. I was just
That's so funny because we had like opposite reactions in both
mm-hmm.
situations. So like my body was moving and my brain was trying to catch up. Your brain was moving, telling you to go and do
Yeah,
and
and my
spring into action,
body
and your body was like, nah, girl.
nah. And it makes sense because one of the things Jordan tells me is like, I when I mind my business, I mind my business. Like he be like, we we have run into other situations. Another quick story time. This is gonna be real fast. Like we was walking into the building to go eat brunch. We get out the truck. I swear that day I had told Jordan, like, I just hope like no crazy shit happened and we could just go and have brunch. Cause it seems like every time we do something crazy happened. They ain't got
You
nothing to
said
do with
it.
us. They ain't
You
got
said it,
nothing to do with
and you
us.
jinxed it. You jinxed yourself because you had to
Bro,
say it out loud.
we get out the car and Jordan, you know this about Jordan, he likes to open my door for me. So he opens my door in the way he had parked, he had backed in. So I had to we both had to walk back in front of his truck to get to the front door of the building. And he opens my door, I get out, and there's this man walking in the middle of the parking lot, and he's on the phone. And he's just like so distraught. And he's like, no,
Ooh.
no. And he's like crying and he falls down on his knees. Girl, it's like a scene out of a movie.
Whoa.
And he's just like on the ground in the parking lot, like, no. It's just like falling down, like, don't do this to me, and crying. And Jordan's like, I look at the guy. I looked at Jordan. We would have to get to the front of the restaurant. We had, like I said, we had to walk in front of his truck. If we would have walked in front of his truck, we would have had to walk right in front of him. Bitch, when I tell you, I turned, I walked behind the truck.
You.
I looked at Jordan. I said, "Not today."
I can't do this today.
I was like, I just can't. He was like, "Shorty, we really not going like see if he need help? Like he looked like he need help." I was like, "No, I just can't."
I'm minding my business today.
I am minding my business. And I'm like that about a lot. Things happen in my neighborhood. I be like, I'm minding my business.
It ain't none of my business.
Ain't none of my business, man. I don't want to witness nothing.
Man, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's why I think I'm like that now because so many things has happened out of my control that all of a sudden I'm involved, but it ain't got nothing to do with me. So now I'm at a point where I'm jaded. Like, why these random things keep happening to me? I just want to mind my business.
Leave me alone, world.
Right.
But it leads to a really great story. I mean, I want to know why he was on his knees talking about no.
I know, girl. I was like, and you know, your boy was like, "Shorty, Shorty. No, don't shorty me.
No. Eyes forward. Keep walking. I want to know what happened to him. What was the
I
problem?
will never know. That's his business.
The world will never know. I wonder if he like lost his job. Did he get fired? Did somebody break his heart? Did his girlfriend cheat on him?
What Tabitha Brown said. That's your business.
Business.
That's his business.
I guess it ain't none of our business. Well, I hope he's okay, whoever he is, stranger in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You didn't check on it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't hope he's okay.
You don't know.
I still want him to be okay. I just don't want to be involved. And bruh, Mia. So here's my thought process. I asked this man if he's okay. Cause I don't know how many people I asked, how are you doing today? They asked me how I'm doing. I say, oh, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. How are you doing? Give me a whole rundown.
You're right.
Like, I did not.
Now you're a part of a whole situation that you were trying to be a part of.
I'm trying to get bottomless.
I'm just trying to go to brunch.
I'm just trying to get the bottomless mimosas, sir. Mind my business.
And now you asking me to give you $50 so you can get to the gas station. Like,
right.
I get it.
My takeaway was mind my business, because when I don't, I get more involved than I even want to be.
Exactly. You got to know when to apply the rules to these situations.
When to hold them and when to fold them. You are absolutely right.
Exactly. I don't know if I want to tell this story.
Yes, you do.
Well, before I go to this story, I do want to ask, did the sheriff's daddy survive the heart attack?
He did. Yes. I don't think I would have told it if he would have passed away, because I would have felt some type of way.
I was like, that might be a morbid question to ask, but I do want to know if he survived.
No. He survived. He was fine. Yeah, he was fine. He had to go through some therapy, of course. He had to have surgery, but we ended up seeing him like a few months later.
Okay. Because, heart attacks can take you right on up out of here.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But I think maybe because you guys sprung into action as well as you did, even though it felt like forever for you to make the 911 call, maybe y'all saved his life. Matter of fact, y'all did save his life.
Girl, we was on Country Club too, so they got there quick.
Yes. So my last story, I'm still speechless about this. So right after, it's the same year that the previous story happened in, right after, maybe the weekend or 2 weekends after the drunk dead girl story, this situation happens. So if you know anything about Houston, Westheimer is the road that stretches from one side of Houston all the way to the other side of Houston. I'm on Westheimer before you get to the Beltway. So I'm by like HEB on Westheimer. If you know Houston, then you know. There was a restaurant that me and Aaron were trying to go to. We were driving in separate cars, and he was in front. I was behind him in my car, and we were in the lane closest to the median. And so we're just in traffic, because Houston traffic is what it is. You got to wait. You got to, be patient or whatever. And we're in like bumper to bumper traffic. And so we're just trying to turn left. There's a kid, and I say kid because I know his age now. He was 19 at the time. There's a kid in the median, the little concrete median, waiting to cross the street, but he wasn't at a crosswalk. So you know where I'm going with this.
I remember this story.
Wildest story. It's the craziest thing I've ever witnessed with my own eyes. So he's in the middle of the street. It looks like he's trying to cross the street, like trying to go to a gas station or something. And traffic, the way that he's trying to go is he's trying to enter oncoming traffic. y'all know how Houston is. Houston has a horrible reputation right after New York City as some of the worst traffic in the country, probably in the world. And so I don't know. It's kind of fuzzy because, again, it was back in 2017. I don't know if a car had run the red light or if he just thought that he could play Frogger and freaking make it across. But he jets out. We're on opposite side of the median. He's going left. We're going straight. He jets out into traffic, and it felt like watching it. A car came out of nowhere at full speed and hit this kid, like smacked him so bad, and this is no exaggeration, smacked him so bad that he flew up in the air and flipped at least twice and then hit the concrete. And I witnessed this with my own eyes, and when I saw it, I screamed in my car. And the car who hit him he felt the impact. So he slowed down and he turned, because as soon as he hit him, he kind of stopped. He turned into the gas station, and that whole left lane, all of us just stopped. From, I think, the car before Aaron's car, my car, 2 cars after me, we all just stopped. So we're holding up traffic, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Again, I'm like shaking at this point because I think he's dead.
Right.
I can't even explain how hard this car hit him. Like, I wish Aaron would be here. He would be able to confirm what I'm telling you. This car hit him at full speed. This kid flipped twice, hit the pavement, and everybody, those 4 or 5 cars, jumped out. People on the opposite side of the street jumped out, and we run to this kid, and I see this 19-year-old kid sprawled out on the pavement. And I don't know, my vision was really weird. I looked at his head, I scanned down to his neck, I scanned down to his chest. It was like slow motion, like you said. I scanned down to his waist, his thighs. When I got to his kneecaps, one leg was going one way, the top part of another leg was going 2 different ways. And I was like, like, I'm squeamish. I can't do blood. I can't do broken bones. Everything in me just got tight. And so we saw this kid, and everybody's just like, it was just a bunch of different people. And so everybody, like, humans' first reaction is like to crowd. And I don't know what it was, but we, like me, Aaron, and one other person was like, back up, give him some space. We need to figure out what's going on.
And
what
was the driver?
The driver had made the loop into the gas station. This dude was taking his sweet, precious time getting out the car. If I recall this correctly, I literally was like, call 911. You you go and do this. And whoever saw the driver was like, hey, bro, you can't leave. You just hit a pedestrian. And he was trying to leave. So they call the cops. Cops come in really, really, really quick. I remember that because he asked the cop, so can I go? And the cop was like,
what?
No, you need to stay. And I remember that because the cop's expression was, you need to stay right here. You're not going anywhere. I looked up like,
this dude, oh my God.
Okay, so this kid is laying out on the concrete. Leg is clearly broken. I mean, broke. Like, this is some stuff that I was just like, oh my God. And he's bleeding. And so we're kneeling down by him, trying to help him, trying to do whatever we can to help him. And he is awake. So he survived. He realizes, I think, that his leg is broke. He tries to stand up and he falls back down. Leg broke, couldn't catch his balance, fell. We were just like, no. And so we're like, what's your name? How old are you? We need to call somebody. He was like, can you call my mom? I think Aaron was able to call his mom. They got the ambulance out there really quick. I mean, when you saw his leg, like when he finally like fell, when he fell the second time, and he was just like plastered, like stuck on the concrete.
Right.
Blood was all over my shoes, and I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Bruh.
People were doing really like people did well. Like you talk about first responders, they responded quickly. We all responded so quickly. The cops came really fast. Of course, the ambulance took up all of traffic. This kid, I can't even like just can you imagine just his body just like but he's wide awake. He feels everything. Wide awake, and he's just like, yeah, you can call my mom. And I was on the verge of tears, I think. And I was like, how can he be laying in the street? He feels everything. He knows bones are broken, or his body is in shock and he don't feel anything yet because of adrenaline or whatever. And so I was like, we gonna call your mama. You gonna be okay. Right. I need to walk away and take like a deep breath. It was so crazy. The cop was like telling the person who hit him, no, you are not cleared to leave. You can't go anywhere. You just hit a pedestrian. And so the guy was just like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, all right. And I was just like, who is this guy? Is he high?
So what was he doing before the cop got there?
I don't know. Now, Aaron's version of the story is that he drove away and came back, but that don't seem right to me. I thought he circled into the gas station, and then when the cop came, the cop went over to question him. Again, this is like
so. Did he ever get out his car and check on?
He never got out the car to go run and check on the person that he hit. We all did that.
So even when the cop came, he still hadn't seen the person.
They didn't let him over there by him, because at the time I think the cop approached him closer to his car, and so
he still hadn't checked on him, and that's just wow.
Oh, that was crazy. And I want to say, man, you know what? I don't even remember if it was like, I don't remember what this kid even looked like. When it first happened, I was seeing this kid like in my dreams, in my thoughts, because I was like, oh my gosh, that is just insane. But now I can't even remember what he looked like. I just know he was a young kid, and I know that Aaron called his mom and was like, we just want to let you know that your son has been in an accident, blah, 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 blah. I think we learned his name at the time. I don't remember his name. And once everything had kind of settled down and we thought maybe he had gone to the hospital and he would be okay, we called and checked on him. Aaron called and checked on him. And the mom was really gracious and like thankful that, people were there for her son.
Right.
I'm like, could you imagine if that happened to you or like your brother or a cousin or something like that? You would want somebody to be there for them. And I was like, this is right after Drunk White Girl. What is the universe trying to tell me? Again, right place, right place, right time, do what you can to help people. I don't know. But these were like
the first respondent.
Something, I don't know, but that's like the two craziest incidents. Nothing has really happened since then, but I think that's enough for a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we have more crazy stories, but we gonna have to save them.
Those are like my top two craziest stories. I watched this kid flip up in the air and like do a somersault. And
I don't think I have anything crazier than that.
He landed like straight up and down, so that leg, all that pressure just popped his leg. It's just crazy. Ooh, it's crazy. I can't, like, I'm like cringing right now because I'm like, that poor kid, he was so young, but I hope he fully recovered and he's doing better, but bro, it be going down.
I remember when you told me that story and I was like, what? Because I remember it being right after that and I was like, It's like, what are you doing for this stuff to be happening to you all the time?
Like, we're trying to go get some food. We were just trying to go eat lunch. And
was it both times? Y'all need to stop getting food. Order out. Order for delivery.
When we finally went like to the food place, I was like,
could y'all eat?
I couldn't. I was like, I do not have an appetite.
Wait, did you still have blood on your shoes?
Yes!
Girl, I was like, take me home.
I was like, oh, when I get home, like I just kept looking at my shoes like, that's that kid's blood. That's that kid's blood. Like, I was tripping. Mm-mm. That was a wild time. That was a wild time.
Well, fortunately for the LDBs, I don't have no stories like that. So the next time we still tell stories, y'all should be
getting like funny stories.
Right? Y'all should be getting. Most of my stories is just me trying to mind my own business and somebody just trying so hard to push their business on me so bad.
You know what the take-home message is based off of all these stories?
What?
Anybody can save a life.
Ah.
Anybody can. Right place, right time. Spring into action. You can save another person's life.
You are right. You're right. Look at you. Making me rethink how I respond.
I didn't know that was going to be what those particular days consisted of, but hey, I'll think from now on, right place, right time. It was meant for me to be there, so
yeah, maybe he was there for a reason.
Well,
I just feel like I've had enough reasons to be there, and I'm at an age where I feel like can we give these youngsters reasons, and I've lived.
Do you trust them to save your life now? The youngsters, now that we are of a particular age.
I mean, I was a youngster when most of these things happened to me.
That's true.
That's why I'm in my 30s now. Like, bruh, if somebody have a heart attack in front of me now, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm just playing. I'm just
call 911. That's all.
I'm gonna help. Because back then it was nothing. It was like, oh my God, this is happening. What do I do? Now it's like, bro, this is happening. Oh.
We can only do what we can do.
That's true. I'll go into the next situation and I'll just make sure I'm ready and prepared, because that's the thing. Like, when I leave my house and I'm going somewhere, I'm only prepared to do that thing that I'm going to do these days. Now I just need to expect the unexpected, so I won't be shocked or
if
surprised.
This year has taught you anything, it is expect the unexpected.
That's true. And I've been annoyed at that stuff too, just as much as I've been annoyed at this.
Because you just never know. You just got to go with the flow. Loose expectations.
You're
damn near no expectations.
No, just none at all. But I want to know LDB crazy stories.
Oh, yes.
That's right. Because I know somebody got something like
if y'all take the time, bruh, if you have a story crazier than mine, please take the time to send it over to us. NotSoPrivatePod@gmail.com. I have to, like, this will be my leisure reading. We could share them. We could share them during our conversation. And if they crazy, you gonna hear some crazy reactions. So that'll do it for another Not So Private conversation. I got my laughs in. You got your laughs in.
Dead. I actually started crying. I was laughing so hard. Oh my God. And it wasn't because it was funny. It was just the way you tell a story now is funny.
So I get my storytelling abilities, because you know my whole family is a bunch of clowns. I get my storytelling abilities from my daddy. He tells an amazing story. He's good at it. So I'll end it off right there. I will call you next week for another Not So Private conversation. Stay ready, so you ain't got to get ready.
All right. Bye. Bye, LDB. Thank you so much, long distance besties, for joining us again for another Not So Private conversation. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Jeanne V. Williams. That's at Jeanne, Jeanne V. Williams, and at Perfectly Mia. That's at Perfectly MIA. And if you have any topic suggestions or any questions, shoot us an email at notsoprivatepod@gmail.com.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We definitely appreciate it. Remember to leave a review on Spotify, Apple, and Google. You can also find us at Radio Public, Pocketcast, Overcast, and Breaker. And you can find us on anchor.fm/notsoprivatepod. Now you can also hear us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Not So Private Podcast channel. Now, with all of that being said, join us next time for another Not So Private conversation.